Hey, what you're about to watch is an exclusive private video that is usually just reserved for my members of the Better Than Success Real Estate League. You know, the real estate community that's been around for the past 9 years that's helped thousands of people become real estate investors. Yes, that one. The reason that I'm making this exclusive private video available to you is because I'm about to do a challenge. Now, let me explain to you why I'm about to run this challenge. Because I think people have a little bit confused about investing in real estate. Some people are getting in with a plan of buying onesies and twosies. By that, I mean like single families and duplexes one at a time, thinking that they'll be able to retire from their regular job in a year. And that's totally impossible. I want you to think beyond the onesies and twosies. I want you to think about how you're going to scale up. And I want you to do these onesies and twosies really as practice. But it's important for you to have your scale up plan in place when you first start investing in real estate. And there are a couple different ways that you can start to plot this out on day one, but you have to do it on day one. That's really important. So this challenge that I'm going to run next week, January 22nd to the 24th, is called the Beyond the Basics Real Estate Challenge, Onesies to Millions. The Beyond the Basics Real Estate Challenge. So I'm really excited about this, but this video that I just so happened to have done, this training that I did within the Better Than Success Real Estate League last week, I feel like it's the perfect pre-work for this challenge. And you're going to watch this video. You're going to love this content. It's going to make so much sense to you. And then you're going to be like, how can I get in on this challenge? So don't worry about it. The link below to sign up to get on the wait list for the challenge is below. This is just the wait list, no commitments. So sign up to get on the wait list for the challenge below, but enjoy this video. It's packed full of game, and I promise you, your wheels will be turning and you're going to feel so much more empowered at the end. Enjoy. All right. So here is the problem. Y'all know I talk to so many of y'all. Like I said, I'm talking to a couple of y'all a day. We're on these. I talk to so many of y'all. Friends, not even just BTS members, investors, friends, family members. And here's the problem. Let me know if this one of these problems is you. You're trying to quit your job, but you need at least $10,000 a month to feel comfortable. Number two, second problem, is tenants stress you out. That's me all day, every day. And number three is getting more and more difficult to find good deals. Let me know if that's you in the chat. Andrea, right on point. Which one is you? 1 and 2. Jen said 1 and 2. What's up with you, Ralph? Ralph, you already knew I was going to ask you some questions. Ralph said finding deals. Bing, boom, bop. Andrea, 1 and 2. Oh, y'all going to love these. Okay. Why this is your problem? The reason that this is your problem is you haven't fully mapped out your business plan to make your $10,000 a month or to find your deals, considering the restraints on the economy, control things that you cannot control. You may have mapped out the mission and the vision. And this is why I did the 2025 goal setting session. Ralph was there. This is why I did the 2025 goal setting session, because most people start with a vision and a mission and you think that that's it, but you have not mapped out the objective strategies, action plans, and systems. Ralph, don't worry. I'm not going to beat you on the head about it because the training for that is in the back office. But I want to position some big ideas that will help you to think about your objective strategies, action plans, and systems. Okay. So those problems that you're having, I only know because I was there. Like, I am coming up out of it. Is you're trying to quit your job. Like, some of you may have a property, or you are close to having a property, and you still can't think, like, how can I turn this experience into the experience where I don't have enough money? I mean, I don't have a job. How can I turn this experience of having 1 or 2 properties, and then these tenants, who the heck can do more of this, right? Or it's getting more and more difficult to find deals. Hey, I can't find any deals. How am I going to transition this into being job free and quitting my job? All right, let's talk about it. Why this is a problem. This is the part that most people don't think about. I would really want to stress this to you. If you do 2 burrs,
per year, it will take you at least 10 years to retire at $400 per month per unit. At least it's really like 12 and a half years. That's crazy. That's a long time. Some of y'all already in the 40s, so you might as well just ride it out. Like the whole point is to retire tomorrow, right? So if you're doing two birds, then you're not thinking the plan all the way through. That's really what I'm saying. Number two, in order to hire an in-house property manager, right, to relieve yourself from having this crazy tenant problem, did you know that the break-even point is 37 units? So I talked about this before on one of these recent trainings. 37 units. I want to pull up a spreadsheet and just show y'all something. Let me just show y'all this. This is 37 units is a long way from, like, if you do 10 years at $400, 10 years, or I should say, if you do $10,000 at $400 per unit, that's 25 units. So if you do get to those 25 units, if you do, and you're operating at full capacity, right? No vacancies. There is a messy middle between 25 units and 37 units, which is a lot of units where you are going to literally want to pull your hair out, where you're going to be your own in-house property manager. Crazy, right? Even if you do have an outside property manager, you know you're going to be the inside, but the goal is to hire you to handle all of this stuff and then nobody bothers you, right? So I want to show you something real quick on a spreadsheet. Are y'all hanging on to everything I'm saying at this point, or is this all confusing? Let me know in the chat. Because what I'm trying to show you is the reason that you're so stressed out about this is because not you. It's just not having this plan fully thought out. I want to show y'all something. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank y'all. Let me share this new screen with y'all. I've been dying to show y'all this. And this is the thing that nobody teaches, but they don't mind selling you education stuff and not really showing this. And before, this wasn't really a problem. Let me be really clear. Because the market wasn't as tight as it is right now, this wasn't such a problem because it was so easy to scale up. But it's not that anymore. Oh, okay, there we go. All right, let's go 37 units. Let's say you're bringing in $500 a unit. You already know that that's like not realistic. So this 18.5 a month, right? Let's make this dollar signs so we're not confused. All right, so let's look at the expenses. I'm gonna make that there, but then I'm gonna make it here. Equals sum discount. Oh, sum discount. Okay. So let's do expenses. Let's say the point is to hire this in-house property manager that's going to make your life easier. Property manager, let's say this person, you're gonna have to hire this person a livable wage. They're working for you full time. $400 a month. I mean $4,000 a month, right? Equals this minus this. Okay. Let's say, are you're gonna have to pay taxes. Let's multiply this times, I'm gonna be real conservative and say 25%, right? Okay, so then you're gonna have repairs on best case scenario on 37 units. You're gonna be running best case scenario, okay? Best case scenario. Let's say you're spending $3,000 a month, okay? So you're gonna have to do a vacancy. Vacancy is usually about 5% equals this times 0.05, right? You're gonna have to hire a VA. A good VA is gonna run you Probably about $1,500 a month. I just want y'all to know something. Look at this. That's what's left over for you. We haven't even done the miscellaneous yet. You haven't even done a property turnover yet. Y'all see this? I want y'all to see this. This is at 37 units. Hurts my feelings. I know, but I'm about to relieve you. I'm about to relieve you. Look, we only got 5 expense line items. Like that's not counting how much you're gonna have to pay for prop stream and buildium and now prop stream is $97 a month. That's only $97 a month. Buildium is $400 a month. I'm leaving out a whole bunch of stuff, but y'all already know y'all can't live off of $4,000 a month. Y'all can't. My son's tuition is $1,600 a month. Okay, it's disrespectful out here. That's tuition alone. Food is $1,600. More than that. I don't know how much we spend on food. I try not to even think about it. Okay, right? Hurt your feelings. So let's come back over to the PowerPoint. So let's come back to this one. In order to hire an in-house property manager, the break-even point is 37 units. Lies, it's not really 37 units. The other problem that we have right now is the Fed is dropping rates, but mortgages are still high. Mortgage rates are still high. They just hit a 6-month high. The Fed just dropped rates 3 times in a row. The mortgage rates just hit a 6-month or I don't know 1-year high the other day. How is it still high? Which means mortgages are still high. The other problem is sellers are more educated, so they're demanding top dollar for their homes. Also, wholesalers are greedy. This is another thing that I haven't talked about. With there being so much information out there, wholesalers, they what they're doing is they're finding their own deals and flipping the crappy ones back out. The ones that they don't want. You know why they're doing it versus the way they were doing it before? Because they're educated. They have now learned how to get the money to do their own deals. Before you will find wholesalers, they're just trying to make some money so that they can turn into investors. But if a wholesaler is smart, you and I both know this, they can turn into investor day one. It's so much information out here teaching them. The information wasn't available. So this is why there are not a lot of good deals out here. I want to stress this. Everything has changed. That's the good thing about the information age. It's also the bad thing. Does this make sense? Let me know in the chat. Okay. All right. The result. Apartment buildings, particularly multifamilies, can perform relatively well in bear markets. I don't care what nobody say. We're in a bear market right now compared to other asset classes due to resilience and the essential nature of housing. So when things are upside down like this, apartment buildings do well versus single family homes, which is kind of what we're seeing right now. Americans can no longer afford to buy or rent single family homes. The reason that they can't rent them is because mortgages are high. So what does this mean? That means that rents are going to be high. We already know there's a housing shortage. With apartment buildings, it's less dependent on interest rates. Like the mortgage on an apartment building, we're not looking at mortgages at 6-7%. We're looking at mortgages of 3-4%, maybe 5 on apartment buildings. So it's more affordable because the mortgages there isn't a huge disparity on apartment buildings as it is with single families or 1 to 4 units. The next one, American home sellers are more educated, so they demand top dollar for their home. 10 years ago, they didn't know nothing. Yeah, well, I'll buy your property for $10,000. The seller's like, okay, I just want enough money to pay my gambling debts. Now these jokers is going on Zillow, getting a Zestimate. Their cousin is a wholesaler, so the cousin is helping them out. I mean, this is great, But now they're you can't get over on them the way that you could do before. American renters are more educated. The ones that will buy, not rent. So all of the agents that's been going around doing these home buyer workshops, they have been educating your tenants out of being your tenants. Okay? It's great. But as a landlord, the good tenants, this is why the tenant pool is so PISSY, because the good tenants know how to do the game, especially in Philadelphia. Remember, they was having a $10,000 credit. You could buy a home for cheaper than you could rent it. You could get into a home for less money than you could do first, last, and security. And investor mortgages are still high. So it's creating this weird market where investors, I mean, the tenants are buying more homes, but it's not more lucrative for investors. But the tenants are getting in if they can get in, and it's just creating this really weird market that like is making it very unfavorable for us. Because also in a lot of these places where we invest, it's also very landlord tenant friendly. All right, let's keep moving. Here is the solution. This is key, y'all. This is key. This right here, this is why you are a member of BTS, because of what I'm sharing with you. The solution is to scale quickly so you can retire. Some of you took so much to get you to buy into this idea of investing, to shift your mindset. And I'm telling you, just the same way that you had to shift your mindset to invest in real estate, you're going to need to equally shift your mindset to scale up. I am pissed that I didn't decide to scale up earlier. This is do or die. You have no choice. Here are your options. I've put this in email, so this might not be new to some of you. Here are your options. And there probably are other options, but I'm giving y'all the easy ones. Burring, but you're finding your own 1 to 4 family. So I'm not saying don't burr. You just have to source your own deals so you can get them at the proper price. The next option, investing in a fund like our Invictus Elite Fund. This is not a pitch to do it, although I will give you some very compelling evidence. I don't care if you do this or do the other options. You just have to make a choice. But investing in a fund like ours with the 15 to 20% IRR, which beats what you would get if you buy turnkeys or burr, a deal brought or a burr deal or burr a deal you bought from a wholesaler in most markets. It's way less headache, same money for less work. Sign me up. It's really probably more money. Wholesaling, the other option, wholesaling single family or multifamily apartment buildings or commercial apartment buildings. Wholesalers always make money, especially on apartment buildings. So you can just literally say, I'm not buying or selling anything. Hey, I'm trying to quit my job. I just want to be a full-time investor and just become a wholesaler. Or you can start your own fund or syndication. You'll need to learn to analyze multifamilies, and you'll need to learn how to raise private capital. BTS would be a great place to partner and leverage each other's expertise like what we are doing. Me, Art, and Noel. I'll tell you how to choose your partners and structure your team. And I copied this from email blast. So excuse that part, but this is what you're already going to learn. But I need y'all. Y'all are already in here. I don't need to pitch BTS to y'all. I just need y'all to know this so that y'all know what to do next. Because otherwise, you're going to be spinning your wheels. I cannot stress that enough. All right, so let's talk about the 3 phases. All right, in order to scale quickly so you can quit your job. Hold on. Phase 1, which is what most of you are in. Y'all are probably in it for more than 3, or some of y'all may be in it more than 3 to 6 months. Doesn't matter. But you can do it in 3 to 6 months where you're just doing single family education. Let's start with single families. I'm not saying do multi families tomorrow. You can, but I think it will be wise to start with single family education. It's 3 to 6 months. Phase 2, over the course of 1 to 2 years, you're going to burr 4 to 6 properties, flip 4 to 6 properties, or however you want to acquire 4 to 6 properties. You are not going to be able to do this in 2 years and quit your job. This is all about getting experience so you understand what you're working with and have confidence. At the same time, while you're doing this, you're going to be learning about your scale phase. You're going to need to make a decision. We'll talk about that in phase 3. Okay. Once you're in phase 3, you have 5 options. If you can think of another option, I'm here for it. It just needs to be something where you are scaling quickly. And when I say scaling, scaling doesn't mean increased difficulty. It just means thinking bigger, because you've already, and this is why scale phase 2 is so important. This is just to prep your mind. If you stay here too long, you will have one of those problems that we already talked about, which is what I had. I stayed here too long. You're going to be frustrated about these tenants. You're going to be stressing about finding deals, or you're going to be stressing about, like, oh my God, I'm going to be knee deep in rehabs for the next 10 years. Who the heck wants to do that? Unless you love rehabs. Who does? Contractors don't even love rehabs. Sorry. All right. So being in this phase is so important to understand that you are in this for just 1 to 2 years. That's it. This is just a means to get to an end. Okay. So phase 3, while you're in that previous phase, you have to make a decision. Again, they're not only 5. These are the best 5 that I came up with. Option 1, sourcing your own deals for burr. You can still burr, but you're going to need to learn how to source your own deals. You can make money sourcing your own deals and then flipping out the ones you don't want. Option 2, you can invest in a fund. You can make really good passive income investing in our fund. I'm going to show y'all, when we get to that slide, I'm going to show y'all some examples of some numbers. It's gorgeous. Option number 3, you can wholesale single families or multifamilies. You can just be a wholesaler and get busy. Option 4, you can start your own fund like ours or do syndication. I love that for you. Or option 5, you can start a real estate service provider business. The thing that I want to stress, you need to make this decision at least by when you're in phase 2. At least then. Because otherwise you'll get stuck in phase 2 and want to pull your hair out. Because you're like, this is way more stressful. I'm managing 25 different personalities with these tenants, 75 different contractors, and I still got to go to work every day. What? Or if you quit prematurely, you're like, where's the money? All right. First, let's talk. I want to talk about option 5 first, because this is the easiest one. You can say, hey, I want to do this, and then I want to start a service provider business, which I love for you. There are people making a ton of money. You can be a contractor, especially for a minority or a woman. You get your minority certification and you can get busy. You can become an agent. You can become an inspector. You can be a mortgage broker or an agent. You can be an appraiser. You can be an educator. I don't care. You can do one of these things. And then you can do one of these things. Up to you. This is what you so choose. I love that for your life. The next one, which is sourcing your own deals. This is what you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn wholesaling, the acquisition side of wholesaling, not necessarily dispatching, unless you decide to flip the deals you don't want out. You're going to have to learn contracting, rehabbing, so that you can, right? You're going to be sourcing your own deals for burring. So like you're going to burr it. So you're going to need a rehab. You're going to need to learn how to manage VAs. If you don't want to be a wholesaler yourself over the phone, you can hire VAs to do all of this. Art has a business like that. Watson has a business like that. You can learn all of that. You're going to have to learn project management and you're going to have to learn staffing. Now, I want to go through all of this. You already know MBTS every other Wednesday. Dom is going to be teaching us wholesaling. You got a ton of videos in the contract and rehabbing section. Um, for those of you who have taken the construction management class, your recordings will be back in the new office, so you can go and study that. A lot of you already know that. Managing VAs. Me, Watson, and Art are going to do a wholesaling class coming up, and they're going to teach you their strategy for setting up a whole entire VA system. If you want to join the class, you already know BTS members are going to get a discount. I would give it to y'all for free, but Watson and it's really Art's class. But I always get hookups on discounts. Plus, y'all get access to Art. Project management, tons of content back there for project management. And the same thing with staffing. So y'all are already plugged in if this is what you want to do. Actually, Dom does this. This is what he does. He basically finds his own deals. When I asked him to teach us wholesaling, he was like, I don't want to call it wholesaling because it's not that. I'm just finding my own deals, sourcing, acquisitions. And he's like, the harder part is the dispositions part, which is the selling of the deals. But y'all got something, if you decide to go down this road, the harder part, which is finding a buyer, y'all have something that's way easier than anybody else's. Y'all got access to BTS. If you ever had a deal that you need to sell, I can always pump it in my email list. I keep telling people that all the time, and they don't be sending me their deals. I can pump it in my email list, and I don't need no half off. If you carry that thing to the end, listen, just send it to me. We can work out the details later. I don't care. We have a huge email list, so you don't have to worry about that part. All right, let's talk about option two. Invest in a fund like ours. This is the easiest way. Once I saw the numbers, I want to show y'all the numbers. Once I saw the numbers on what an investor would make, I'm like, this is why funds run the world. Y'all know funds run all of this, own most of the single families. They literally control the world. All of the Fortune 500 companies, they're all controlled by funds because it's such an advantage for the investor and the fund itself and the investee. It's such a beautiful vehicle. I want to show y'all something. Here, let me show y'all this spreadsheet. All right, this is something that we worked up for an investor in our fund. So, um, hold on. Okay, so this person is investing $35,000, right? And I don't want to get in the weeds of this, but based on the way that we structure this, their projected cash flow in the first year is 2,400. In the next year, it's 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, right? And then at the end of year 7, they get their 3,000 back plus 26,000 plus 35,000. Okay. This gives them an equity multiplier of 2.26. So they literally double their money over the course of 7 years. Hello. And they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. Okay. So you're getting 35 plus 29 plus all these cash flows. Crazy, right? Those numbers are so disrespectful. And this is with an IRR of 15%. For those, I'm gonna probably do a class on what IRR is for those of y'all who don't know. IRR is internal rate of return. It takes into consideration the time value of money. So a dollar today is worth more than a dollar tomorrow. That's basically what it says. And it takes into consideration irregular cash flows. So you see how these cash flows are all different. These are projected. So it's crazy, right? Okay, cool. Let's come back over to our PowerPoint. Again, I'm not trying to convince you to invest in our fund, but it's literally the easiest way. If the world was mine, I would make BTS into a community where everybody gets practice. They go through this phase. They get practice for them a couple of years doing single families, and then everybody in year 3 either starts a fund or invest in each other's funds, and it just relaxes. Or the people that just want to get busy and like being out here, they do their burr. I call it burr on steroids. That's when you finding your own deals. All right. Okay. All right. Option 3. If you're just a straight up wholesaler, it's wholesaling single families and multifamilies. This is not what the burr part. You just and you're a middleman. You finding deals, you selling them. Finding deals, and selling them. You're going to need to learn acquisitions. You're going to need to learn how to manage your VAs. You're going to need to learn disposition. That's selling the deals. You're going to need to understand market info and deal analysis, which most of you already know. This is just in phase 3. Theoretically, you can do this in phase 1, 2, and 3. But you got to have a way to scale. It's people out here making a lot of money wholesaling. 6 figures, way more than people who are working equally as hard buying deals. It's all about building wealth. So this is my least favorite option, but you can make a lot of money. All right, option 4. You can start I just showed y'all the money, the numbers. Start your own fund or syndication. What do you have to learn? Fund management if you want to start a fund, asset management, investor relations, capital raising, acquisitions, property management, minimal if you hire outside property manager, and the apartment game. This is why we change all of our events. Remember, these mastermind series is all about deal making and fundraising. Every other session, I'm going to be teaching about raising private capital. Remember, Tuesdays, Art is teaching how to analyze apartment deals. And then I'm going to be teaching it as well. I need to know because we're starting a fund. Asset management is not my strong suit. That's not my job, but I need to understand it. But if you want to do it, we all doing it together. So that's why we're here. All right. I put how will BTS guide you? I actually spoke to that on each of the slides. Does anybody have any questions about that? What I want to know is which option will you choose? You cannot go on like this trying to do onesies and twosies forever. You can't. I don't know if you needed to hear this, but you did. You can't go on like this, doing onesies and twosies forever. I only allow it for practice. Real estate service provider. What do you want to do? Oh, I forgot to add property management in there too. Which real estate service provider business you want to do, Andrea? While Andrea types up which service she wants to do, Jen. Um. Ooh. I love it that y'all thinking. I love it. I love it. I love it. Jen said number 5. Number 5 was she trying to get down with the get that. Wait, number 5 is service provider. Was that service provider for you, Jen? Too? So Andrea said, I want to be a resource and center hard money brokering. That's a relatively easy business to get in. All you got to do is reach out. So couple things. All you got to do is reach out to all the hard money lenders and find out how you could be a broker. That's probably 2 weeks worth of phone calls. Awesome. So now you just got to place yourself at a center to lend money. And Andrea, if you ever want to speak on a mastermind, about, getting, because this is technically hard money lenders is private money, and you want to share up all the services that you have, let me know. You can do it. Because I'm sure you have all these brokers that you're working with, and they all their programs are different. And so our members always need to know about that. If you want to put something together, we can put you on a schedule, and you know, you already know people, they always looking for lenders. Why are you nervous? You got, if you're gonna be a salesperson, you cannot be nervous. You cannot be nervous. Jen said, I already took the agent class, so I have to take the test. Let's do it. You don't like speaking in front of people. You good with the one-on-one. Man, come on. What do you think they're gonna do? Good. However, mortgage broker is something I have thought about a few months ago. That's all right. That's why we're here, talking about it and thinking about it now. But if you're gonna quit your job, if that's what you want to do now, we got to start. Jen. So, Andrea, this is important. If you want to use that replace your income, think about how many deals you have to do. It's impossible for you to do that speaking to people one on one. You're going to have to speak to multiple people at the same time. That's going to be very stressful unless you get somebody who is a big investor and they only fool with you. You get a couple of them, but that's hard. However, mortgage broker is something I have thought about. Okay, sorry. So I'm glad that your wheels are turning, because I want you to start thinking about whatever that freedom number is. For most of y'all, it's like 10 grand a month, 15, 20 grand a month. Then we need to think about which business is going to allow us to do it and how we're going to do it. Andrea, you're right. I need to get my life right. Okay. I think I got some public speaking trainings in the back office somewhere. You could start with BTS. You won't have to worry about speaking in front of them. Just put together a really airtight presentation about the programs that you have. If you want to do it in 2 weeks, I'm here for it. 2 weeks or 4 weeks before I head out of here. What's your questions? Share your questions and your thoughts.
Is there anything about mortgage broker or what's the verb for it? Or being a mortgage broker in the class? I mean, in the back office?
Nope, but I can get Mark to come in and talk about it.
Okay.
I can get him to come in ASAP. Let
So
me
I
text him.
I thought about mortgage broker at one point, because I was already doing the hard money brokering, and I'm also a realtor, so I sell houses. I'm like, I can, kind of hit it from all sides. But it was a lot of conflicting information on, at least it was when I researched, what exactly you needed to become a mortgage broker.
So in all right, let's clarify some terms. So in Pennsylvania, I do believe, they don't quote me on this. They may have changed the rules, but I do believe you cannot be an agent and a mortgage broker, or a
Ooh.
residential mortgage broker.
I never heard that before. I gotta research that.
That's
And
good to know.
let me see. Hold on. Let's
I mean,
research
it
it right
makes
now.
it makes sense not to, you not to be the mortgage broker on your deal where you're acting as a buyer's agent. It makes total sense.
So back
But
in the day, you could, and then
mhm.
as of by the time I left Philadelphia, you could not. The law could have changed in the past 5 years.
Okay. Now, are you saying that you can't have both license at the same time, or you just can't be a mortgage broker and an agent on the same deal?
You can't do them both. You can't, the first.
Oh wow.
Again, let's call Mark right now. Ask him.
Yeah, we need to know this.
Yeah,
Yeah, because then I won't even bother with the test. I want to research the broker piece.
hold
Yeah, if
on.
I'm being honest, that's what I would rather. If I ever was to move forward, it would more so be the mortgage broker side. I can't stand showing houses, y'all.
Again. This was
Okay.
another reason why I wanted to say this. Let's be real clear about the language that you're using. Broker. Hey, here, hold on. What it do, John? Hi, I have tons of things to discuss with you. I wanted to find out how the cruise went, but I'm on a BTS call right now. So we talk about that now, but everybody has a question for you. Two questions for you. One,
Okay.
in Pennsylvania, can you be a real estate agent and a real estate loan officer at the same time?
No.
No.
Okay.
What the actual rule is, but I've yet to meet a single mortgage company that will sponsor your mortgage license if you have your real estate license, like an active real estate license, and vice versa. There's no real estate brokerages that will let you hang your license if you have an active NMLS license. It's not that way in every single state. I know plenty of people in California, obviously, that have both licenses. I feel like Florida is one of those states that's very common as well, but Pennsylvania doesn't play that.
Okay. Hold on. I want to clarify. So there you go. You heard it. They're not letting it go down. I do know a lot of agents in California that have both. Back in the day, probably like 10, 15 years ago in Pennsylvania, that was a thing, but they shut that down. The other thing I wanted to clarify is the use of the term broker. Broker is the person that holds like the seat or like you have to have some experience to be the broker to have the actual license. So most of the times the term that y'all using, y'all mean to say agent. So I want to make sure that we are clear that because y'all keep saying broker.
Yeah, I was researching mortgage loan officers when I was
Right. I
doing.
just want to make sure that a mortgage
Okay.
loan officer is different than a broker. A
Mm-hmm.
broker is the person that hires the mortgage loan officers.
So can you have your license and be a mortgage loan officer?
Hold on.
Specifically around the mortgage business. So if I'm a real estate broker, what you're saying is 100% correct. In the mortgage world, we use the term broker to refer to somebody who brokers loans. That doesn't necessarily always mean that they're the person that has their license. They may just work for a mortgage broker, so they call themselves a mortgage broker. Like I have my licenses for my state licenses with a larger brokerage. And so if someone was to ask me, hey, what do you do? I'm a broker because I can literally broker loans to multiple different
What's
lenders.
the difference between a broker and a mortgage loan officer?
A mortgage loan officer may work for a huge mortgage company like a Loan Depot or a Movement Mortgage, or they may work for a bank. And
Oh, so you
because of
so a
that,
broker just means you're not an employee. You're just a broker for the broker.
exact, or that you just work with a company that has relationships with multiple lenders, so that they're not. Think about insurance: a captive agent versus an insurance broker. The captive agent can only do policies for that one insurance company, versus a broker can work with multiple insurance companies.
Got it.
It's the
Okay.
same thing with mortgages. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, in terms of a broker and an agent are very different. The agent is the person who has the
Yeah.
broker is the person who has the broker, the real estate broker license, and then they hire agents.
Bingo.
Okay.
And they have very different standards that they're held to. If you have a real estate broker's license versus you're just a real estate agent. A real estate salesperson is what they call it in Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right. One other thing I want to clarify too that you guys are talking about is um just to be very clear, everything that we just talked about is for residential mortgages. In Pennsylvania, you can broker hard money loans without a license.
Kind of commercial loans, as long as it's not a consumer loan, you don't technically need a license. Now, there's certain companies that they may require it for you to get compensated to work with them, but that's typically just banks. If you're talking about commercial loans for 99% of the types of loans that you're going to do that aren't I'm living in the house, or it's an agency loan, a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac loan for Pennsylvania and a lot of other states, but specifically PA, they don't give a damn. It's actually kind of wild, but the reason being is there's no consumer involved. They assume that if somebody's working on a transaction for a commercial property, that you as the consumer are a sophisticated investor. So you don't need somebody to hold your hand that's licensed. Versus if I'm buying a house to live in, they have those protections in place and they require everyone to be licensed by the state because they don't want consumers getting taken advantage of. PA's consumer lending laws are very strict, like more strict than a lot of other states.
Okay. All right. I think you answered. Do y'all have any other questions before I hang out with him? Because I gotta call him back because we got
Yeah,
something.
that clears up a
That
lot.
was yes, thank you.
Okay. All right. Call you back. Thank you, Mark.
Say no more.
All right, bye. Bing, boom, bop.
We here.
Okay. So y'all have some things to think about. I just want to make sure that y'all are good.
Yeah,
I
I'm
also
gonna
too,
sit down and do some research and figure out which lane.
and that's what I was gonna say. You don't have to make this decision right now. Sometimes making a decision for some of this other stuff, right? Like the wholesaling, whether you're doing the burr or you're wholesaling the wholesale, or if you're doing a fund or you're investing in a fund, you might not think about it because it may not occur to you that that's an option because it's such a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And it may require you to massage in your mind a little bit the possibilities of doing something doing something like this, which like, and I'm only saying this because my decision to do a real estate fund and become a real estate fund manager, it took me so long to see myself as this. But now that I see it, I can't unsee it. So like if somebody, like people came to me with opportunities like this and I was just like, and it was nothing more than me having an identity shift. Not only having an identity shift, but saying, this is the only way to go. And the reason that for me that it was the only way to go is because I done tried to wholesale a bunch of times. I'm not doing it. My brain is not set up for it. If I have to, I have to, but I'm not doing it. The service provider thing, no, I've done different things. No, in terms of service provider, this is the being an educator. This is the what I do. Being an agent or broker, I don't like having clients. It's just not my thing to do. Um, some of the other things I don't want to go into detail. I could rattle them on for you. Some of the other things was just like that is not for me. This in this specific role is for me. Like being a fund manager, it doesn't mean because which I probably should have put a slide in there. There are three roles. There's investor relations, the person that raises the private money. There's the fund manager, the person that understands the administrative side of the fund, like how funds work, the regulations, all that. You can know how to do that and not be good at anything else, and someone can leverage you. And then the other side is being the investor specialist, the person that understands the asset management, the nerdy part around it, the risk management, the spreadsheets, the this, the that, all of that stuff. And so for us in our fund, all I need to know is investor relations. And I'm a little bit of a fund manager person. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know everything. And that's why y'all are watching me learn some of this stuff because I don't want to be totally ignorant to it. But I just need to know, I need to commit myself to learning how to raise private capital. That is so more in my lane than meeting with clients day to day. I'm only speaking for me. I'm not trying to convince y'all. I'm just trying to get y'all to think about everything on a level playing field instead of boxing yourself into something that may not be good for you or ignoring something that might not be as complicated as you think. And the only reason why you're thinking it's complicated is because you haven't been able to shift your identity. Like you haven't given yourself room to even think about that. Like, wouldn't it be nice? I'm only giving this example. What if you literally was doing passive? You just put your money up and just literally lived off of investing in a fund, and you just got really good at looking over prospectuses and offering memorandums and interviewing people. What? Y'all are smart. Y'all can figure that out. But you got to first see yourself as that. So don't pigeonhole yourself out of some of these decisions without really thinking about what it entails. All right, y'all. Have a good night, and
You
I
too.
will see y'all soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.